Rachel Zegler's fall from Hollywood's next big star to public pariah hit new depths as shocking reports surfaced that Disney is allegedly demanding she pay back part of the catastrophic $120 million loss from the Snow White remake. It's a story few could have imagined a year ago. The actress, once hailed as a fresh face of diversity and youth empowerment, now accused of single-handedly tanking a billion-dollar brand. According to insiders, Disney executives were in full panic mode after the film's disastrous opening weekend. Emergency meetings were called. Blame was assigned. And at the center of it all was Rachel Zegler. Her viral interviews, political hot takes, dismissive comments about the original Snow White, and openly sarcastic attitude during the film's press tour were no longer just social media fodder. They were now being scrutinized as potential breaches of her professional contract. At the heart of Disney's reported case are accusations that Rachel violated key clauses meant to protect the brand. Morality clauses, public relations expectations, professionalism standards. Her offhand remarks that the prince in the original story was literally a stalker, and her tone-deaf jokes about entire scenes possibly being cut did not go unnoticed. In fact, those comments were now part of the evidence being gathered to possibly penalize her financially. The anger inside Disney's boardroom was palpable. According to witnesses, one executive stood up and shouted, "She torched a billion-dollar brand in under a year, and we paid her to do it." Others reportedly nodded in agreement as discussions began on how to claw back bonuses, cancel future deals, and even potentially seek repayment of some of her salary. What makes the situation even more surreal is how close Disney apparently came to trying to fix the problem before it exploded. They allegedly assigned Zegler a personal PR consultant whose sole job was to shadow her and pre-approve her statements to the public. Some of her later apologies were reportedly ghostwritten by Disney's communications team. But even with corporate babysitting, the damage was too far gone. One of the most infamous moments came after Disney executives congratulated her for posting a supportive Snow White tweet, only for her to follow it up minutes later with a politically charged, Free Palestine post. While she had every right to her political views, Disney executives were reportedly horrified at the timing, especially considering her co-star Gal Gadot's background and public pro-Israel stance. An executive even personally flew out to beg her to delete the tweet. She refused. Behind the scenes, Disney's frustration turned into desperation. Legal teams combed through her contracts, looking for any technicality they could use to reduce payouts, rescind bonuses, or even sue for damages. It was no longer about salvaging the film. It was about salvaging the brand. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler, sources say, was blindsided. She had believed Snow White would be her breakout moment, the start of a glittering career in Hollywood, not its possible derailment. Seeing empty theaters, scathing headlines, and her name become synonymous with a billion-dollar flop reportedly left her emotional and in disbelief. She hadn't anticipated that audiences would turn so decisively against her. The box office numbers confirmed the disaster. Instead of dominating worldwide charts, Snow White barely made a dent. Overseas markets shunned the film entirely, and domestic audiences weren't interested in seeing a beloved fairy tale reduced to a politically correct lecture. Merchandise tied to the movie collected dust on shelves, and Disney was left scrambling to cancel promotional tie-ins and licensing deals. Critics were brutal. They didn't just call Snow White a bad movie, they called it a betrayal of everything Disney once stood for. Audiences didn't just reject it because of modern updates, they rejected it because it had lost its heart. And Rachel Zegler, with her endless stream of dismissive remarks about the original story, became the unfortunate symbol of that loss. Making matters worse were revelations about the chaotic production. The film's budget ballooned from $170 million to over $270 million due to endless reshoots, COVID outbreaks on set, and poorly received test screenings that forced last-minute changes. Even the decision to replace the Seven Dwarfs with CGI magical creatures became a lightning rod for criticism, alienating longtime fans who felt the film was embarrassed by its own source material. And if all of that wasn't enough, Hollywood insiders pointed to a broader generational clash. Rachel Zegler's social media savvy, hyper-political style of celebrity, where every thought must be posted online, clashed violently with Disney's old-school model of careful brand management. A generation raised to believe that personal truth trumps public perception met the hard wall of reality. Corporations don't care about your feelings when billions are at stake. Rachel's fall from grace didn't happen overnight. It was a slow-motion train wreck. From her very first interview where she distanced herself from the character she was meant to embody, the writing was on the wall. Instead of embracing the magic of the original tale, She set out to reinvent it in her own image, and audiences wanted none of it. Now, Disney faces a future where even mentioning the Snow White remake is taboo inside company halls. Executives are scrambling to rethink their entire live-action strategy. And Rachel Zegler? She's reportedly fled to Dubai to escape the storm, seeking distance, anonymity, and maybe a fresh start. Whether she can rebuild her career remains an open question. Hollywood has a short memory, and comebacks are always possible. But it will take a total rebranding, a recognition that audiences aren't looking to be lectured. They're looking to be transported, to dream, to believe in happily ever after. The sad truth for Rachel Zegler is that sometimes, no matter how talented you are, respect must be earned, not demanded. And when you inherit a legacy like Snow White, the world expects you to treat it like a precious gift, not a platform for grievance. In the end, it wasn't just a movie that failed. It was a promise, to fans, to audiences, and to a legacy that deserved far better than it got.